I get some interesting private messages on YouTube. Some of them are sweet, others of them are rambling diatribes, some are really flattering, and others are a little creepy. I got one last week, though, that I found so intriguing that I decided to make an entire video about it. It was from a 13-year-old girl that I'll call Ashley, and she commented on one of my How to Argue with a Creationist videos. With her permission, I put just her first message to me in the info bar, so you may want to pause right now and read it. She has some questions for me about what people think of Christians and about creationism and why. Well, thanks for writing me, Ashley, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. Now, although you're only 13, you seem very bright and inquisitive, so I'm not going to dumb any of this down for you, nor am I going to hold back any thoughts out of fear of being accused of indoctrination by people watching this video. After all, you asked me what I think, Ashley, so I'm going to tell you. You asked me what atheists think of Christians, and you seem to also be asking why there's some hate directed at Christians. Unfortunately, there was one commenter that really let you have it, but some unpleasantness is to be expected when arguing on the internet about anything. I don't tend to be that rude, even when the person is being ridiculous, but I understand why they're angry with Christianity. Some are upset because differences in faith have ruined relationships or curtailed their human rights. Having never been a believer myself, my main gripes are that some Christians actively tear down human knowledge that they feel is a threat to belief, and that most of them only put humans first when they believe their version of God approves of it. Other people feel robbed of reality by those that implanted the faith in them when they were young, which is exactly what you're undergoing right now. Come to think of it, are you actually aware of what's happening in your life right now, Ashley? What is happening is that adults in your life, including your parents, are in the process of making sure that you believe in God, are a Christian, and specifically are the exact type of Christian that they are. They are using books that they claim are magically inspired and making sure that your major influences are all people that believe the same as they do. I know that you feel like your beliefs are coming from you alone, but your parents knew that they just needed to get the ball rolling, and you'd learn the rest of the details on your own. Based on your videos and our conversations, you also go to a Christian school, and that will reinforce the beliefs that your parents want you to have as well. You said that you were very skeptical at first about religion, and you were correct to be, but in an environment where everyone you love and respect believes as you do, you had very little chance of believing any differently. If you'd been born in Greece a few thousand years ago, you would have believed in Zeus and the other Greek gods. If you'd been born in Pakistan today, you'd be Muslim, and you'd probably be making videos about how it's so obvious that Allah is the one true God and that all of life's instructions are in the Quran if I would just read it. This is how religion has always worked, and it has nothing to do with evidence. And now you are becoming part of the cycle too, and learning the creation myth of your parents. You could rightly ask me why I would care what you believe, Ashley, and it's because your beliefs will eventually affect others. For one thing, I strongly suspect that you're being brought up to be in a Christian denomination that believes that loving someone of the same sex is a deadly sin. They probably also tell you that atheists have no morals, or that they are actually believers that hate God, or some other story. You probably know they would have a bad reaction if you told them that your best friend was an atheist, or a lesbian, even if you aren't. If they knew you watched my videos, they would probably discourage you, if not outright forbid it. These are the kinds of beliefs that keep human beings fighting with each other and lead to hatred. I don't want to see you turned into one of those people that screams at women in protest as they walk into a health clinic, or that believes gay people are going to hell just because of who they love. I'm not saying that your parents are necessarily bad people overall. I assume that they probably love you, but if they believe any of the kinds of things that I just told you, then they would be teaching you ways to hate those that are not like you, and I'd be sad for you. I sincerely hope that I'm wrong and that's not the case. Of course, the particular sect of Christianity that your parents are teaching you is more at odds with science than most, which leads us to the creationism and evolution issue. We figured out back in the 1800s that species evolved from other species, and that's something that some Christians are upset about, especially some of the more Bible literalist Protestants like Baptists, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, and so on. The fact that species evolved from other species was one of the huge unanswered questions in science, and for centuries Christianity clung to it in order to maintain a big gap of knowledge so that they could claim God did it. Now, instead of actually accepting what we've learned, some denominations continue to fight it and try to set human knowledge back. Though some denominations, like Catholicism and some others, have accepted it as just part of God's plan or something. Religion loves to claim that we know very little about the world, or that we have immature thoughts of man, as you put it. But the reality is that not knowing or not understanding is not the same thing as not existing, and many Christians simply do not know much about science. That brings me to your most recent video. I found where you got your sources for that video after I searched it. I linked it in the info bar. You made a mistake that many people make. You went to a site that says right on it that its goal is to teach a biblical worldview, and you read an article about science from a writer that it says right on the page has an English degree from a college that does not even teach the subject that he's writing about. Do you see the problem here? You should read about evolution, but you'll need to learn from actual scientists that are actually experts on the subject, and not ones that work for Answers in Genesis or other religious organizations. When you look back at the article and do a Google search to see what I'm saying is true, it should make you wonder why they're trying to feed you misinformation, and why they feel it's more important to tell you a lie that conforms to your interpretation of religion than what is backed up by evidence. My best advice to you, Ashley, is to not let anyone squeeze the skepticism out of you, and keep learning. Who knows, maybe one day you may come to a different opinion about what you're going through right now, and realize that I was right. That's the moment where you'll know it's actually religion that was the immature thought of man.